Selangor Darul Ihsan is one of the states of Malaysia that is located in the middle of Peninsula Malaysia's west coast, and encircles the federal territories of Kuala Lumpur and Putrajaya. A large portion of the Selangor was still engulfed with jungle, and majority of the population settled in traditional settlement areas in the 19th century. The main settlements were situated in Burnham River, Selangor River, Klung River, Langata River and Lukat River. However, the land use was focused to farming, paddy planting, or jungle produce. It comprises of 9 districts: Kuala Selangor, Sabak Burnham, Hulu Selangor, Gembak, Klung, Kuala Langat, Hulu Langat, Petaling, and Sepang. The name Selangor could also have been derived from a tree named Mentangor, which is a type of plants that can still be found abundantly by the skirts of Selangor River. The tree is also known for its height, and it can be seen from afar from the sea, until the traders during the time started saying that they wanted to stop by the estuary of Sungai Mentangor. The history of Selangor began from the banks of Kuala Selangor, where a town was located at the edge of Selangor River, which later became the first center of administration, the government of Selangor. It is believed that Kuala Selangor existed since 16th century, during the time Kuala Selangor was under the reign of Malacca. The early settlers of Kuala Selangor were the seafaring people, who were fishermen along Selangor River, approximately 6 kilometers from the estuary until upstream, and also the Aboriginals. Their leader was Opu Sentirabu Rong, a woman of Bugis descent, who was caring and good in gaining the love and respect of her followers, up to the extent of being able to obtain the attention of the residents of Kuala Selangor, who vowed and were determined to only accept the leadership of the Bugis. In 1761, there were 4 British merchant ships, namely the Brandenburg, that weighed 70 tons, arrived in Selangor, and returned to Selangor after stopping in Malacca. This was followed by the ship Junk Sailung, commanded by Captain James Scott, and Jet Dagang, which was 100 tons, and with Thomas Sween as the captain. In 1766, Madras Trading Company sent its first ship, Indian Trader, to sail to Kuala Selangor from Aceh for the purpose of selling its cloth cargo and buying in. Kuala Selangor was an significant port for a stopover because it was the central hub for the collection of tin. The inhabitants of Selangor practiced Hinduism, Buddhism, and animism before Islam was introduced in the Malay archipelago. Islam began to be accepted in the region around 13th century. The growth of Islam in the Malay archipelago was through trade, missionary activities, immigration, and marriage of Muslim scholars. Islam spread promptly throughout Malaya when Malacca and the colonies below it underwent Islamization in the 15th century. The arrival of Islam in Selangor happened simultaneously with the rise of Malacca in 15th century. The presence of Tun Perak in Klang also gave credence to the belief that Islam in Selangor came through Malacca. This is because Tun Perak, son of the Bendahara of Malacca, was appointed as the headman in 1445. It was the norm that the religion of a leader would also be adopted by its followers. Islamic influence became increasingly strong after the Bugis Malay Sultanate came into power in Selangor. Raja Lumu, also known as Sultan Salahuddin, was the first Selangor Sultan of Bugis descent to embrace Islam. Kampong Permatong was initiated by Datuk Maharaja Laila, from Bugis descent, or known as Deng Lok Lok, brother to the first Sultan of Selangor, Raja Lumu. The kampong was opened in the 1700s when Datuk Maharaja Laila was in search of new land. The early residents of Kampong Permatong are sea wayfarers and aboriginals that works as farmers and fishermen. The name Permatong was given due to the characteristic of the area that has long and high sands spanning from Pas Penambunk to Tiram Borauk. The architecture of the surrounding has influences from several descents, including Bugis. Bugis influences can be seen through the use of colors which are yellow and red, since they are the colors that symbolizes Bugis. Even now, the colors can be seen in Selangor flag. The old graveyards at Kampong Permatong are scattered, and not systematic, since the land is not declared as an official graveyard for Muslims. And long ago, the villagers believed that wherever a person dies, they should be buried there. Another person said that the graveyard marks their family territory and so that the land will not be taken by other people.
Dan itu saya ingatlah orang tertua dulu mencari tanah, paling tidak tanah tayamum. Orang dulu hidupnya mesti hidup paling tidak mencari tanah tayamum. Maksud tanah tayamum itu tanah kubur. Paling tidak dia dulu tidak ada tanah wakaf, dia akan menanam. Dia itu menanam atas tanah tersebut. Maka inilah berlaku bersepak. Maka dulu tidak ada. Kemudian ikut.
Masjid Rahmani is located in Kampong Permatong in Kuala Selangor, which is situated next to Kampong Permatong Tengah and Ujung Permatong. Kampong Permatong is located nearby the Selangor River and Malacca Straits. The architectural styles of the masjid is significant as it was influenced by the context, since Kampong Permatong is settled by Bugis people, originated from Rio, Indonesia.
Yang setahu makciknya, yang datang ke rumah, naik ke rumah makcik ni Sultan Abdul Samad. Pasal yang nenek datuk pada mak makcik tu kerja dekat istana sebagai datuk Sabandar. Tu yang dia datang kat rumah makcik ni, dia kata mana tanah nak buat masjid. Tu yang nenek moyang makcik tu tunjukkan kat depan ni. Tu yang buat masjid kat depan ni.
Masjid Rahmani was built collaboratively or gotong royong by the villagers. The materials were bought and collected by the villagers themselves. The masjid is known to be used for communal prayers and also a venue for gatherings between the villagers. According to one of the villagers at Kampong Permatong Tengah, he stated that the master planner of the masjid came from Jayapura, Middle Java, Indonesia. His name is Raden Haji Hassan bin Raden Haji Ali, who stayed in Kampong Permatong. He decided to build a mosque in the area, and the materials of the mosque came all the way from Java, Indonesia. During this time, the masjid already built using a brick. Masjid Rahmani is a vernacular masjid, located by the main road in Kampong Pematang, with a perimeter of 613 square meters. The masjid consists of 3 entrances, at their front, left, and right side of the masjid. The front entrance has a wide stair at the entrance foyer, which act as welcoming gesture to the villagers, and to small staircase for the left and right entrance. In front of the main entrance, there is an old well located in the masjid compound. It is known to be one of the main sources of water for the masjid and also to the surrounding houses, especially during the drought season. Initially, there is a wooden pail attached with a rope in to draw the water from the well. Later on in 1930, water pumps were introduced to boost the water. However, the well is no longer being used today. The Kola, or also known as the ablution pool, is located at the masjid compound. It is rectangular, and is elongated facing the Qibla. The Kola is made out of bricks, and concrete then tiled for finishes. During the earlier years of the masjid, ablution area is one of the example on how space organization of the masjid are highly influenced by the villagers' culture and beliefs. For instance, these spaces are categorized as purification spaces that located at the left part of the masjid. This arrangement of space is based on the sunnah.
Penggunaan kolam air tempat berwuduk kekal hingga kini, namun ia telah diubah sesuai dengan ditinggikan sedikit kedudukannya. Ia sekaligus mewujudkan 2 cara penggunaan mengambil wuduk. Cara pertama menampilkan kaedah tradisi menggunakan cebok atau gayung, di samping menggunakan salur paip sebagai alternatif kedua.
The main stair is leading into the main prayer hall that is square in shape to maximize the space used by the villagers. Currently, the main prayer hall is utilized by the male occupant for congregational prayers and place of gathering, while the left extension area utilized by the female occupant. It has been said by the villagers that the main prayer hall installed ceiling around 1930. At the most front part of the main prayer hall, there is a protruding secluded space, which is called the mihrab, with 5-sided wall and 1 tiny opening. Currently, the mihrab is connected to the audio room. In the mihrab, there is a minbar for the imam to give his sermons during Friday and Eid prayers. The mihrab, built in semicircle shape, and ornamented with Quranic verses. The masjid consists of 14 columns, with 8 different type of the columns are existing since 1916, and the others are relatively new. Moreover, there are 4 prominent columns, known as Tiyang Suri, in the middle of the masjid, to support the beams and the roof. The column has 3 parts, which is the base part is square shape, the shaft part is octagonal, and the capital part is cylinder. Flemish bond brickwork was used in construction of the column. The bricks were arranged from the base up to the beam at the roof part, which directly enhance the structural support. The column is bonded by the mortar, and the Georgian cap of the column was plastered with 10 mm thickness were applied as the finishes. The foundation of Masjid Rahmani may have been made by laying bricks to form raft foundation as its space. The land was excavated for the placement of the slab. The soil is mixed with mortar and sand to become construction materials for the building foundation. Masjid Rahmani wall, constructed by using load-bearing wall with Flemish bond brickwork. The thickness of the wall is an average of 250 mm, including the plasters on both sides of the wall. Masjid Rahmani consist of three-tier pyramidal roof, which known as Bumbongmi roof. The three-tier roof is highly dominant because of its temple-like roof form. It has influences from regional architecture and has similarity with Hindu architecture. The pitch of each roof level increases in the manner of Meru, or mountain, that represents the house for God. The roof is crowned by a heavy circular clay pottery to represent prosperity. The roof uses the timber construction method, which utilizes the traditional Malay joint system. As roof construction begin, the roof beam is supported by columns by resting on it. The roof beam holds the rafters. The rafters connected with the sheathing and layered with timber batten, Chinese clay tiles, were used as the finishes in order to shelter the masjid. The railings and balusters in Masjid Rahmani are of different styles, ranging from influences that are adapted from Malay, English classical, to Chinese style. The balusters, that are said to be influenced from the Malay architecture, are used surrounding the whole masjid. However, parts of the masjid have been altered, and now the balusters can only be found at the entrance of the masjid. The timber panels function as a shading device, as well as a device that avoid rainwater from spattering into the masjid whenever it rains. The same pattern of timber panels can be seen on other houses in Kampong Pematang. The railing construction using layered brickwork with mortar to form the unique shape. This brickwork plastered on both sides to beautify its form. The timber panel held by the timber track and timber frame. Tembok carving arranged accordingly in the track and joint by metal nails. Masjid Rahmani uses double-leaf door, especially at the main prayer hall. The doors are believed to be the original door since it was built in 1916 and made from merbau timber. There are two types of doors from this style, which is the main door at the entrance and the secondary door at both sides of the masjid. The pattern and design are same, where it is more modest and simple called parpung, kembong, or bulging timber but differ in size. The main door is slightly bigger than secondary door to create a grandeur effect as well as welcoming purpose to the visitors. It also allows natural lighting and air to come in. They are made of timber frame and panels with fixed glass window on the top, which also known as fanlight. The fanlight is designed with sun style to represent the sunrise shining on top. All the doors can be opened inwards and large for ventilation purposes. Window is an opening in the wall that functions to allow the penetration of natural daylight and air into the masjid. The style of the windows are quite similar to doors style, but in a smaller size. In addition, on the top part of the window, there is a fixed glass to allow natural lighting into the masjid. The presence of the cement coping, with projected seals surrounding the windows, are believed to be a method to avoid insects from climbing up the window, and at the same time give aesthetic value to the overall facade. The veranda of Masjid Rahmani has no walls, where columns act as the separation of spaces. This is due to the reason to optimizing the natural airflow and to allow light into the masjid. Open spaces can contribute to concentration in praying. In addition, veranda is the place where the community holds activities, such as worldly meetings, and Islamic teachings among villagers. The minbar Masjid Rahmani is made out of Shengal timber, and adorned with intricate carvings. It is said that the minbar was donated by one of the villagers of Kampong Permatong and was already there inside the masjid in 1916 after it has been rebuilt. The minbar have served the community for 100 years. The minbar is detached from the wall of the masjid, and is movable, but it is too heavy to be moved around. The details of the minbar is carving with floral motif. There are several modifications that were conducted to the minbar. In 1940, there were empty spaces between the floral motifs, and the villagers have placed grills as decorations to fill in the empty spaces. Other than that, they have altered the front facade of the minbar. Calligraphy motif. At the top of minbar are the verses of the Holy Quran, which are usually found in the masjid, septors and columns. The carvings are shaped in a gerlang-gerlang manner, on a rounded primary base. Or 1 larat Jawa are motifs smaller than or 1 larat Nilayu Asli. The leaves and flowers are closer, and both of the motifs are overlapping one another. The leaves are straight and not folded. Or 1 larat Nilayu Asli, or also known as or 1 larat Jawi. The shape of the flowers are big and sparse from one another. The motifs begins at one place, spreads and fills the whole area. The stalks are coiled and collides with the leaves that are pleated. Elevated with raft foundation to support the masjid, 14 brick columns with 8 different type of column and 40 young sari. Enveloped with load-bearing wall, adorned with 2 types windows, and 2 types doors of effortless and simple style that beautifies the building. Timber structure to support the roof element, and majestic 3-tier pyramidal roof, covered with Chinese clay tiles. All these elements define the modest Masjid Rahmani architecture. Masjid Rahmani is one of the prides of Kampung Permatong, whereby it is the only masjid that is still surviving after a century. The masjid has irreplaceable values where it is a gift from the cooperation of the villagers during the toughest time, with the lack of materials availability, to produce an amazing structure that unites the Muslim community during the old days until now. Masjid Rahmani itself is known to be the treasure of Kampung Permatong. It will remain, as it is for the community, to embrace the nostalgic experiences and memories